Oh, hello, hello. What's up, everyone? Dr. Tamika here. Hello, hello. Happy Thursday, 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. You know this is what we do. I am super excited to be here today. I hope you are as well. How has your week been this week? Have you had a little bit of ups, a little bit of downs? Has it been consistent? What has it been like? What's up, everyone? So happy to see you here on Instagram as well as on Facebook. Those of you on Facebook, if you can do me the favor of clicking on StreamYard and letting me this allows me to see your comments as you jump in and say what you have to say. So if you have your comments coming in saying, hello, what's up? Tell me where you're coming from. I would truly appreciate it from the depths of my heart because we got a hot topic today because I can say at least a minimum of 3 times a week within my practice, somebody asks me about sleep. And so when we're thinking about this, I think it's important that we jump into it and actually really spend some time talking about it. So if you know you're in the right place, what's up, Auntie? Hello, how are you? You know you're in the right place if you know you're here to talk about like common sleep disruptors and getting better sleep. If you want to talk about sleep, then today is a place where you want to be. You want to be right where you are right now. So invite a friend, like, comment, let me know if you want to talk about sleep. It's what we're doing today. One of the things that says, an Irish proverb says this: a good laugh and a long sleep are the two best cures for anything. A good laugh and some good sleep cures almost anything. So that's really a great statement. But interesting thing about that, there's some irony in that, unfortunately. We all need a good night of sleep more than ever to be effective as we cope with the different challenges that we face in life. And a lot of times what I noticed is that the research has showed that increasing numbers of people are experiencing sleep disturbances since the onset of COVID-19, right? Even pre-pandemic, people were having problems with sleep. And maintaining our sleep is essential for mental health and physical health, and it often gets overlooked. As much as 43% of our population say that they have a problem with sleeping. So if this is something that you're wondering about, or you know that this could benefit someone else, make sure you like, share, comment this video today. So I'm excited about that today. So let's talk about what I like to do is today we're going to break this down into 2 phases. I'll do phase 1 this week and I'll do phase 2 next week because I want to break down sleep so that you understand its impact. So today we're going to talk about the stages of sleep and how they support good health. We tend to take sleep for granted. And one of the things I like to talk about is the various stages, right? So in our sleep, we go through several stages of sleep, each with its own purpose. And generally speaking, it can be divided into 2 stages. So if we think about this, I want you to think about REM and NREM. So rapid eye movement and non-rapid eye movement. So those are our 2 stages. We're going to break it down. So REM, this is typically occurring the first 90 minutes of sleep. This is a stage where you're more likely to have vivid dreams. A lot of times I've noticed is that I ask my clients when they say their sleep is good, and I'm like, do you dream? Some say yes, some say no. And then I ask, do you dream in color? And some say yes, some say no. But what I've noticed is as we look at this, thinking about REM, the rapid eye movement part, that's typically the first 90 minutes of sleep. Henceforth, REM, rapid eye movement, your heartbeat typically raises then. And many people can sometimes feel like they just can't move, like there's like muscle paralysis. REM sleep basically supports mood, memory, cognitive function. And some studies have associated the lack of REM, rapid eye movement, with a reduced coping ability. And interesting about that is like if your REM is off, you're not getting as much rapid eye movement, there's some challenges that can impact your health. So I always talk about how there is a connection between various parts of our bodies, right? So everything is connected. So if your rapid eye movement is not the best, you're not going into sleep then I totally want you to understand that this can impact you, right? So if we think about the amount of REM sleep we get each night, it sort of declines with age. So regardless of where you are, we want to do whatever we can to improve our REM sleep. So now, the non-rapid eye movement. Let's take a moment here. We're going to break this down into 3 stages. The NREM, the non-rapid eye movement, stage 1. This is the first stage of sleep, which is the very light sleep. You know, when you're like on the way to the pillow and you're like falling asleep and then you hear the slightest little noise and it wakes you up. Well, that's that first stage of NREM. N as in Nancy, R as in Reagan, E as in emotional, M as in Mary. Non-rapid eye movement, stage 1. Stage 2 is about half of a typical night's sleep is spent in this stage, right? Which is slightly deeper than the rapid eye movement stage, non-rapid eye movement stage 1. So the first one is light, first stage of NREM. Stage 2 is typically half of the night's sleep, and it's slightly deeper than REM 1. Now, non-rapid eye movement stage 3, this is the stage of sleep during which your heart rate, your breathing, and your other bodily processes slow down, right? It can be hard to wake someone up in this stage. So have you ever gone in the room and you told your kid, wake up, and you go in there and you're like pushing them and waking them, trying to do whatever you can to wake them up, and they don't wake up? More than likely, they're in that part of sleep, NREM stage 3. It's primarily in this stage that your body performs the restorative functions of sleep, including strengthening the immune system and repairing tissue. So we know we need a strong immune system now, like really working to getting this right. So our immune system is really important. Now, as we think about this, I want to just spend a few moments on talking about the consequences of poor sleep. There's a long-term impact of poor sleep that extends beyond the fact of like when you wake up in the morning, you're just groggy, and the next day it's just like, I just feel off, right? There's some things that are past that, right? So let's talk about some of the consequences of poor sleep. And they're not in any particular order. I'm just going to talk about them. Hormonal imbalance is one of them. You've heard me talk about hormones before, but hormonal imbalance is affected by poor sleep. This can throw off numerous hormones in our bodies, and the proper sleep it's important for our hormones to function. What's up, Curtis? When they function effectively, we can feel better, sleep better, do better. But a lot of times we have our sleep is impacted, which means our sleep-wake cycle, such as our cortisol hormone is impacted, our leptin, our ghrelin, and these are all important regulators of sleep, hunger, and feeling full. The next thing that can be impacted by poor sleep is something called difficulties with weight management. Now, I have a lot of people coming into my practice who want to talk about weight. And I'll tell them up front, as we talk about weight, we want to get rid of inflammation. But as importantly as I talk about getting rid of inflammation, I talk about getting a good night's rest. One study found that people who routinely get less than 7 hours of sleep at night are 40% more likely to be overweight. And one of the things that plays into factor, let me say this correctly. One factor that plays a role in this sleep is the hormone ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hormone that's associated with hunger. And then you have leptin, and this is the hormone that's associated with the feeling of fullness. So when we're talking about weight and we're talking about people who don't get enough sleep, when there's an imbalance in your ghrelin and in your leptin, there tends to be a problem with weight. All right. So if we can get a better, and these are impacted by sleep. So again, one thing impacts the other. Another thing that can be a poor response to sleep is reduced cognitive function, like your ability to concentrate, memory issues, problem-solving issues are negatively impacted by poor sleep. That's why when you think about like that, you'll hear this thing. That's why the effects of driving while sleep deprived is very similar to driving under the influence of alcohol. So when we think about sleep, I want you to think about, wow, I really have to do a better job at getting my sleep improved, because it will impact your hormones, it will impact your weight, and it also impacts your cognitive function. Another impact is your immune system. Right now, we know that you have Delta, you have what's Omicron, you have all these different variants, and even ones that people don't even know about. Our immune system is getting impacted by not only these viruses, but other bacteria. And it's just like, what do we need to do? We need to work on improving our immune system. Well, one thing that we can do is truly try to work on improving our sleep, because poor sleep lowers your immunity to common viruses. And there were some thoughts that like less than adequate sleep could be associated with your response to COVID-19. But there needs to be more investigation there. All right. And then there's sort of another area that talks about cardiac risk factor. So there's a heightened risk factor for cardiac problems when they're saying not getting enough sleep. There's a risk for heart disease and elevated blood pressure. Conversely, however, getting more than 9 hours on average can also increase your risk. So there's a sweet spot that seems to be as it relates to sleep. Basically, as I go through this, my last one I want to talk about is something that I talked about before, and I'll say it again here. There's more vulnerability to mental health struggles and social problems as a result of a lack of sleep. A lack of sleep not only makes you more vulnerable to depression, it can also impact your social skills like empathy and trust. So, when we think about this overall and we're thinking about our bodies, I want you to think about your sleep and how invaluable it is. So, when we go back and we think about what's going on in phase two, when I go into this next week, I want you to understand there are some things that can really wreak havoc. So, right now, are you unknowingly sabotaging your sleep? So, I want to ask you this. There are some things that you can be doing that can wreak havoc on you. So, many factors can negatively impact your sleep, including caffeine, high caffeine, right? Poor nutrition, a sedentary lifestyle, the blue light from your electronic devices. So those of you who are up on Instagram or on your iPads or on your laptops, the screen time, it basically, there's a blue light coming from there that can basically impact your sleep, basically causing a stimulation, keeping you up at night. Medical problems such as restless leg syndrome. Restless leg syndrome at nighttime is like people feel like they just can't keep still. Their legs keep having to move. That also can sabotage your sleep. And then with that, I'd want you to check your iron level and also look into what else could be going on with your body, because why do you have restless leg syndrome? Chronic pain. Oh my gosh, so many people are dealing with pain, whether it's low back pain, upper back pain, pain in their knees, pain in their neck. Pain is a high contributor to sabotaging your sleep. So if we can get to ways to control the pain, as well as get to the root cause of the pain so that the pain is less, there's a improved likelihood that it won't impact your sleep, because as you're in pain, there's a chance that you won't be able to go to sleep, because no matter what position you're in, your sleep is impacted. And then hormone imbalances. So I'm really going to go back to making sure you look at your hormones, your cortisol, your testosterone, your estrogen, your progesterone. These are hormones that can truly impact your sleep. So on next week, we're going to jump into ways to protect your sleep. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on I want to give you some bite-sized information. So the bite-sized information is here. As we think about sleep, there's two phases. There's a rapid eye movement, and then there's a non-rapid eye movement. The non-rapid eye movement is divided into 3 stages, okay? And we talked about stages 1, 2, and 3 already. There's consequences to poor sleep, hormone imbalances, difficulties with weight, reduced cognitive function, a lowered immune system, risk for cardiovascular impact, as well as vulnerability, even more so as it relates to mental health and dealing with social challenges. When you put all this together, there are certain things that you can start to do to actually protect your sleep. And that's why I wanted to talk next week about improving your sleep and making that a priority. So stay tuned, invite a friend, like, comment, share, and let's help get the word out about the invaluable importance of the value behind getting a good night's rest, right? And I know you know this intuitively, but let's really be mindful of what's going on in our rest. What are we doing to improve it? And what are some of the things we're doing to sabotage it? Because as we know better, the thought is that we'll do better. But I hope that you don't just take the information and just hold it in, but we start to do better with it. So with that, I'll say next week, we're definitely going to go into ways to improve and protect your sleep. So share, like, and work on you. Not that you have to, but that you get to. See you next week. Have an amazing Thursday afternoon and an enjoyable weekend. Go Rams. Love the Super Bowl halftime show. Talk to you soon. Bye. I just love doing this. I love it. I love it. I love it. I have such a great time. Thank you for joining me here on Facebook. Again, if there's anything else that I could touch upon and add to, if you have any specific questions related to sleep, by all means, respond to this. Let me know, and I'll try to incorporate that into next week, but we'll just keep it going every Thursday. I am honored, and it's a major privilege for me to do this with you. And I thank you from the depths of my heart. Have an amazing Thursday. Share. Share. That's what I say. That's my day. Share. Let's get the word out. Bye.